Now we will see the networking component. So if I go to AWS here, you can see that in networking also there are a lot of options, networking and content delivery. So you can see all these options in the networking. So what we will be exploring first, VPC. This is very basic for the AWS services. It is a virtual private cloud. It creates an isolated network for your applications. This is the base for any of the applications which you run in AWS. It can span across all availability zones in a specific regions. Like you can define that if I'm using US East, I want to create my instances in all the three availability zones also. All instances, like whenever we create an instance within the same VPC, can communicate to each other. But for any other connections, you need to specify explicitly, like we need to open this connections. By default, any EC2 instance cannot communicate to internet until we define any explicit connection. So this is a very basic example, like this is my region, and under the regions, you are creating a VPC which can span across all the availability zones. So this is a very basic example of the VPC. And by default, for each regions in AWS, default VPC is created so that whenever you are launching an EC2 instance, you do not need to worry about the networking things, like default configuration is already there. But when we actually create an application, then we need to define our networking elements also. We cannot open connection as a default one. So here they create the default one, but we will be creating the actual VPC with our customized networking connection. So in VPC, so if I take an example of the default VPC also, it creates in the subnets basically. It creates whenever you create a subnets, whenever basically a VPC, whenever you create a VPC, it creates subnets also. And a VPC can have one or more subnets. And the subnets is associated with a specific availability zones. And each subnets, like whenever you create a subnets, they got their own block of private IPs as per your VPC configuration, like whatever you have provided for your VPC. And your VPC uses first four IPs and one IP for the internal first four IPs and the last IP for its internal networking, and leave other IPs for the user. So this is the last IPs. So this is a very basic diagram. Here you can see that this is a VPC, and this is just talking about one availability zone. I have created the public subnet A, private subnet, and there is an instance, and each instances in the public subnet gets the private IP addresses according to their VPC, right? That I have said here, each subnet got its own private IP addresses as per the VPCs. And here is the internet gateway and internet users. Internet gateway, it automatically creates, like you don't need to create it. This allows inbound and outbound requests to the internet from Amazon VPC. So, okay, before I create a VPC, I just want to touch base about all the other topics so that it is easier for you to understand. So, route tables. What is that now? So we configured routes, and based on that, traffic goes from the subnet to the internet. Like here you can see this is the subnet, but how any traffic will go to the internet? So that is where we define the route table. Routes define how that implicit router in the Amazon VPC routes IP traffic from a subnet to the destinations outside that subnet. And each route table has a local route. Local route, what it allows the traffic from one instance to another instance, which allows traffic from instance in one subnet to send traffic to instance in any other subnets within the same VPC. So like if you want to send some traffic from private instance to public instance, then that local traffic route table is already configured. So all subnets are associated with this default route table, and that we called as the main route table also. And for the public route table, like for the public subnet route table, we define a internet bound traffic also. So this is the default one, but this is our public subnet. So we need to define the route through the internet gateway also. Like here you can see the example. This is the example public subnet of, for the public subnet, the public route table is containing one local, that is called the main route table, and the second one for the internet gateway, so that it can make a connection with the internet. For the private route table, you do not need anything because private is not exposed to the internet. So it is just one local route table, and that is used so that it can communicate with other instances which are in the different subnet. So this is what the route table is. So now we'll create one VPC, and I'll just explain you with the demo perspective. So here you can define anything, like I can create VPC with a single public subnet, VPC with public, whatever I want to create. So I'm just giving you an example. So if I select this, here you can provide your CIDR block, right? And you can provide your VPC name also. And here you can see 251 IP addresses are available. You can select the availability zones also, and you can create a VPC. And here you can see that it has done so many things. It has created the route tables, it has created the DNS, lot of things it automatically does. We don't have to do anything. So this is how you create a VPC, and automatically it creates all the route tables and all the connections whichever it's needed. So if I take an example of this demo VPC which I have created, here you can see that the CIDR is this, and I can get the subnet details. This is the route table. So if I go to route table, so you can see the subnet association also, like this is associated with this subnet. So I mean you will get all the details of that VPC here, and everything is configured. Okay. So this is the route table that is being used for this purpose. Now the next thing is the security groups. What is security groups? Security groups are the stateful firewall for your EC2 instance. It means if you define an inbound connections, then response to that or incoming connection is permitted, automatically permitted. That is what the stateful firewall means. And security groups are used to just allow the traffic. So in general, we basically define two types of connections, inbound and outbound connections. Okay. So it's just an example that I have a web server instance and I have a database server instance. So how I will be setting up a security groups for that? So first thing is the inbound connection. What do you mean by the inbound connections? Like when we say that for the web server, it's a web server, like it is accessible from the public, right, internet, because it's an app, it's a web application that needs to be accessed through the browser. So you need to open the port, right, and here you need to provide the source, like allow incoming HTTP request from internet user, so everybody can go. So that is called the inbound rules for the web server. So here I have defined for this HTTP and HTTPS. And the second thing, I am defining the SSH. SSH, I just want to define from my machine so that I can log into that instance. So for that, I have just defined my IP here, and that's it. The outbound rules, generally we just use the default one, but yes, you can customize it. Outbound rules, like everything is, we can outbound, that instance can request to anything from the internet. So that is called allow all outbound traffic. Now for the database server. So database server, you can see it does not have access to the internet. I mean, no one can access this database server except this web server. So how you will configure it now? So our database server, so this needs to be open only from the web server security group. So you can define, like this is the port of your database and this is the source, like this is the security groups that you have created for this web server here. so that only this instance can access it. And outbound rules here I am defining so that I can allow the HTTP for the updates. That's it. So that I can take some updates from the internet. That is what I am defining here. This is called the outbound rules. So this is the security groups that we apply at the instance level. Now the next thing is network access control list. What is that? So it controls the traffic that enters and leaves a subnet. So it is at the subnet level. It can allow or deny traffic also. And this is stateless. That means it does not track connections. Their replies. So you need to define both inbound and outbound rule for a particular traffic. For each rule, you can choose whether the rules allow or deny traffic. So this is something like how the network access control list you would be seeing and how you will be configuring. And the rules in network ACL are numbered and evaluated in order from the smallest to the largest number. So like if you have defined 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then it will be evaluated from smallest to the largest like this. And this is an example. Here you can see the public subnet and this is the security group. And this is the NACL, that is the network access control list. So you can see that it is applied at the subnet level. And here is the router, internet gateway. So security groups and the network ACL. Security groups we apply at EC2 instance level. Network ACL we apply at the subnet level. It is stateful and it is stateless. It allows traffic. It only allows traffic and it can allow or deny traffic also. Next thing we will be doing the network address translation. What is that? So network address translations that we call as NAT. You have heard about NAT instance or NAT gateway. That is used to allow for instances in a private subnet to make outbound requests to the internet without exposing those instances to inbound connections from internet users. The instance in the private subnet maintain their own private IP addresses and effectively share the public IP address of the NAT when making internet request. Like this is how basically the flow is. This is the instance in the private subnets. It goes to NAT gateway. NAT gateway goes to the internet. From using internet gateway, it gets something and then it reaches to the instance. So this is how private instance can get outbound request using NAT instance or NAT gateway. This is an important point. Like generally we can use the NAT gateways, but NAT gateways you get the charge for specific for the NAT gateway. So people uses the NAT instance also. So when you use an Amazon EC2 instance for NAT requires you to disable the source destination check setting for that NAT instance. Okay, so now we will be running one demo.